Hey, thanks for joining us for Conversations in the South Office, brought to you by Airways Freight, where we're delivering more than performance.
Hi, my name is Lisa Townsend.
And I'm Craig Luttrell. Welcome to Conversations in the South Office.
Yay!
Yay! Lisa, what exactly is the South Office? You want to tell everybody?
Yeah. When it's been a long day, or maybe we just want to catch up with some of our colleagues, the South Office is a perfect place for us to do that.
It's the traditional gathering spot downstairs in our break area. With beer on taps and snacks on hand, it's a great place to kick back and just discuss all the happenings of the day.
Sounds like a great time to me. So how did you get started here?
Well, I grew up just about 5 minutes away from this building, so numerous times I've driven by it on my way to high school or to college. And my first job was with a truckload company here in Northwest Arkansas. Spent about 4 years there, and it wasn't a good fit for me. So once I decided to move on from them, started investigating Airways a little bit further, and it seemed to be the perfect fit. And 25 years later, here I am still. What about you? Tell us how you came to be an Airways employee.
Well, I started back in 1993. I was just a baby. I've done everything from data entry to accounting to claims. I think I started tinkering around with computers in the late 90s, and my tinkering landed me a position in IT. Mm-hmm. And from there, I found myself working with our social media, and now we're doing this podcast. So it's been quite the ride.
And people like you and I who have been at Airways for this long, there's a similar story here. We've kind of morphed into other divisions. I can tell you, yeah. When I started here, there was no full truckload division, which I manage the truckload division now. It didn't exist when I started here. I was moving trade show freight, moving some air freight, and then Airways does what it does. It adapts to what our customers need, and when there's a need for a new division or for us to branch out, we just do it. But that's the story with a lot of divisions we have here. We develop new divisions and we branch out based on what our customers need. So when Airways decided to open up a truckload division, I had some previous experience in that, so I was hopefully their natural choice to take that and run with it.
Definitely a good choice there. So, Craig, why are we doing a podcast?
Well, we just want to introduce everybody to what we do at Airways and who we do it with. You know, there's going to be times when, like today's cast, that we want to bring in some outside people who are sales agents for Airways and talk with them and get some insight to what we do and how long we've done it and how well we do it.
In this episode, we are going to be interviewing Mike Hogan Jr. and Greg Byron out of Chicago.
Yes, they're long-standing agents with Airways Freight. They get involved in a lot of different aspects of freight we move. So it's good to get their insight as far as the sales agent side of things, some feedback from them on what we do and how we do it.
I can't wait to learn all kinds of stuff about them.
Let's bring them in.
Alrighty. Welcome to Airways Freight.
Thank you.
We are doing a podcast. It is Conversations in the South Office.
We're joined today by Mike Hogan Jr. and Greg Byron, both from Lowry Hogan in Chicago, long-standing Airways agent. And welcome, guys.
Thank you. Good to be here.
We usually start off with something generic, just a little bit about each one of you and how long you've been associated with Airways.
Let's start with you, Greg.
I've been associated with Airways since 1991, first as a customer and now as an agent. So I ran a trade association in Chicago and ran a trade show there for 10 years from 91 to 2001. Hired Rick Lowry to be my agent and grew freight shipping from one show in Vegas to our show in Chicago over that 10-year period. And at that point just became friends with the ownership of Airways and kept hanging out, coming to their mud bugs and parties and blues bites and barbecue festivals, and then joined Mike and Lowry Hogan team in 2010, I believe.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. That mud bug is a great incentive to keep business going, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Keep working with us.
Oh, yeah.
Mike, how about you?
I started with Rick in January of 1999. So I've been doing this almost 21 years now. It's been a great run. Basically, he was looking for a younger guy to kind of come in, help out with the business, eventually offered me a partnership after the first year, and I took him up on it, and one of the greatest moves I ever did. Got to learn about airways and freight transportation in the trade show industry, and just really enjoy what we do.
Tell us a little bit about the business that you do. Like, what does it focus on? And
as far as the business, our forte is trade shows.
Mm-hmm.
So that's shipping in and out of convention centers, hotels. So it's all very time-sensitive freight. It has to be delivered at a specific date, specific time. A lot of times the drivers have to check into the marshalling yard, so there's just a lot of rules and regulations to follow to make sure that it gets done correctly. And if you miss a time or miss a date, it could cost an exhibitor their whole show. So it's a lot of pressure sometimes, but it's worked out pretty well so far.
That's good.
Yeah, I'm focused on the trade show side of it with Mike's business. I mean, Mike does a lot of development where he's trying to get in with display houses and things like that occupy a lot of Mike's time. There's probably close to 30 trade shows a year that I market and do the sales for as part of Mike's team.
Wow.
And that's a big focus for us, or for me.
Mike or Greg, can either one of you give us an example of something that's happened recently where Airways just kind of stepped up to the plate and went above and beyond and maybe came to the rescue for a situation you were in?
One thing does come to mind. We actually had a customer display house that had a shipment delivered to a show in Chicago, and they realized that they had forgotten to put the flooring on the truck. So they had to scramble last minute to try to get these 4 rolls of vinyl flooring reproduced in Las Vegas, and they gave me a call saying we need to get them to Chicago for the show as soon as possible. I called Airways and basically explained to them what we were looking at and that this was an urgent situation, and they were able to come up with a solution for a hotshot truck to pick up, team driven, to get the freight to the show in time so it could make the show, and obviously had to deliver before anything else could really be built. We were able to pull that off. It was through the winter time and the weather wasn't an issue, fortunately. And then we discovered that once it had delivered, they actually forgot to put all 4 of the rolls the same type of vinyl.
Oh no!
Different kind of matte finish versus a gloss. So they called me and said, now we have to pick up another roll from the same location and get it to the show as well. Again, went back to Airways and we were able to figure out a solution to fly it. Even though it was overweight, we actually were given bad weights. They dropped the one airline, and then we had to pick it back up to do a different airline. So it was a lot of last minute scrambling, one flight, one chance, one option to make the delivery in time, and it literally just delivered to the show so we could set up the rest of the booth and open the show in time. So.
And for anybody that knows the trade show industry, that can be a customer's last minute panic because the flooring is the first thing to go down before all the other things get assembled and the last thing to come up. And these exhibitors spend a tremendous amount. They invest a lot to be at these shows, and something is what might seem as insignificant as flooring can be a big deal to the overall look of the booth and all that they've invested to be there and present to their customers and investors. So it is a big deal, and it was good to know that we jumped in and came to the rescue there.
So save the day.
Yeah. What about the craziest thing since dealing with Airways?
Question, I'm trying to think of like unique things. There's the one-offs. Something that could really come to mind would probably be on the Con Expo show. Probably one of the biggest pieces of businesses we've ever had. It was the Sandy booth. And I believe that was around 30 container loads from China that came into Las Vegas.
Wow.
For just one booth. And we had to handle and arrange the warehousing ahead of time for everything to be unloaded, put together, erected, cleaned, painted, and then the local transportation from that warehouse to show site. That was quite an accomplishment.
That just shows the scope of what Airways is capable of. Anything from a 5-pound box to 30 container loads and all in between.
Well, that's it for today's podcast edition of Conversations in the South Office. Thanks to Mike Hogan and Greg Byron for taking the time out of their busy day to sit and chat with us a bit. We appreciate them and everything they do for Airways Freight. Feel free to visit our website at www.airwaysfreight.com to find out more about Airways Freight and how you too could become an Airways sales agent. Thanks for listening.